Greetings and welcome to this episode of the Leadership Lounge. I am so happy you joined us today. Thanks for being here. I am so looking forward to bringing our guest onto the show. Let me bring her on right now. Nadine Lavigne. She is amazing. She is my friend. What do you get when you get a powerhouse leader who's spent 20 plus years at inside Fortune 100 companies like GE, Boeing, IBM, Kyndryl, a woman on a mission to make gratitude a business strategy, and a leadership expert who believes authenticity isn't just nice to have, it's the unlock for thriving teams? You get my friend, Nadine Lavigne. She's the founder of Be Real Partners, where she helps leaders and teams build trust, deepen connection, and lead with heart. She knows that success doesn't start in the boardroom. It starts with human connection. And I couldn't think of a better place to start. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Yay! Welcome. Thank you.
I am so happy to have you here. And folks, I hope you join. I hope you put in your questions. We will be watching the chat. So Nadine, let's start and let's give everybody a baseline of who you are and a little bit of your story.
Yeah, sure. So thank you, Lyndsay. It's exciting to be here. I love this. The Leadership Lounge is very fun already. I've seen last week you did this with Ricky, and it was wonderful. So I'm so excited to be here. But yeah, so my story is, gosh, over the past 20 plus years with global corporations, like you mentioned, in HR and quality and supply chain. I am also a mom, two amazing kids, dog mom, wife. Love to work out, love to spend time with my kids, go to all their sporting events, as you know. Love concerts. I'm always out and about doing something. But as you mentioned, at my core, I'm all about like authenticity and gratitude. And that's been what's driven my journey for the past few years. And the reason that I'm now on my own as well. And I just want to create spaces where people feel like they can be their genuine self and give back some gratitude, really take a moment to pause and think about why they, who got them to the place that they are and who they're appreciative to. So I just, that's what keeps me going every day, is creating those spaces and allowing people and leaders, teams and leaders, to really feel that, whether they're at work or whether they're at home.
You do this so well. And I want to jump into the gratitude thing in just a moment, but I really do want to highlight a little more of your career, because your career was impressive at some really reputable brands. And can you just talk a little bit about the kind of work that you did at some of these big old companies? Because I was with you at one of those big old companies.
Yeah.
There's a pedigree that comes from working in these places. So I really want to emphasize that for our audience, because they need to know you got some chops.
Thank you. Yeah, it was. So right out of college, I started at GE, and it was tough. I'm not gonna lie, it was very early. When I was there, it was still Jack days. And so it was kind of cutthroat, very male dominated.
Yeah.
And I was in the engineering organization. So it was, I would say, even more difficult. I wasn't in HR at that point yet. And I think that's really where a lot of my perfectionism issues and a lot of my
her issues. We'll get to the issues soon.
Later. But I think that's really where a lot of it started. Everything was about how you show up. And I did not have an engineering degree. I did not have that sort of background. And so I always had this mask on, kind of pretending that I was like them, or wanted to so desperately be like them. I wanted to fit in and belong, and I just didn't feel like I did. Yeah. So while I look back on my GE experience, I grew up GE, I learned so much. But I also think about how I was never really truly myself. All that to say, eventually when I left GE, I had been in HR for years and went to Boeing. I followed a GE colleague to Boeing, went there and was in the learning organization, in the talent organization. Also did a lot of work on their Boeing University, essentially. So we were standing that up when that first started becoming a thing. COVID hit. Things got really tough at Boeing, as many of you know, just from reading the news. And things get really challenging. So I left there and went to another company, another IT company, always in like this talent and HR space, doing leadership development, but even like performance development, succession planning, things like that. And when I left that company, I went to IBM, which then became Kyndryl as a spinoff. So yeah, I mean, I over 15 years in some sort of HR, talent, performance development type role, leadership development role. And that's really where I realized, like, okay, this is where I fit. This is where I feel like I belong. But at the same time, towards the end of that career, people started reaching out to me for advice. They started asking, and I'm like, well, I've actually got some credibility here. Like you said, I've actually got some chops. And now I might be able to do this on my own because I feel like I've built enough years of credibility at some really amazing places to go off on my own. And so here I am.
Well, and so you're currently, aside from Be Real, we're going to talk about Be Real in a moment, but aside from Be Real, companies have been hiring you to facilitate their learning and development workshops. And I know that you're very good at this. And you have this beautiful knack for making people feel safe and creating a space for them to explore and try new things. So could you just share why the way that you facilitate works so well?
Yeah, I can't ask this because some people will come up and they'll be like, you just create a room that makes me want to talk. And I'm like, well, that's great. I don't really know what I do. I think what I do, though, in some of the feedback that I've received is that I myself portray someone as very authentic and vulnerable. And I will stand up there and I will share that I'm not perfect, that I've been through the trenches like a lot of the people that I'm facilitating with have. I get where they're coming from. I know their challenges, right? And some of that comes from being at these big corporations and living it. But I also, like, I did one session with coffee. Like I already had come to the office. I took a sip of the coffee, the top came off, and I just owned it. I just walked in and I owned it. I'm like, look at this. I'm going to stand in front of this room all day long with this on my shirt. So I'm just going to own it and be like, guess what? This is me and it happened.
This is life. Yeah.
Right. I think so. There's some of that where I'm like, this is me. This is how I am. And I'm very real and I'll laugh about it just as much as I may cry about it. But I just also care.
Yeah.
And I think people can sense when I'm not laughing about coffee on my shirt, I'm also genuinely leaning in and saying, well, how do you really feel? I sense that something else is underneath what you're saying. Like I'm an empath, right? And I genuinely am asking them how they're doing.
Yeah.
And so often in businesses, like in some of the places I'm facilitating are huge businesses, they don't get asked that.
No.
Ever. They're like, what's the status? When's this due? What, give me
No, there's no time for feelings.
No.
We've got deadlines. We've got quotas. We
Right.
can't have that.
You know that all too well too. So when somebody actually says, I hear something below what you're saying, but like, beneath what you're saying, and I can tell that you're feeling something more than the way you're describing it, they open up and seems to work.
Well, let's give a little shout out to some of the people in the audience today. So I saw Chasen Forehand, Melissa Carson. Hi, Tom Doherty. Hi, Kim Murphy. Who else do we have in here? I saw Amber Norton. Guys, let us know that you're here. We love knowing you're out there. Appreciate you showing up. So Nadine, you gave us a beautiful segue to one of my favorite questions, which is, what was one of your biggest failures that turned out to be one of your greatest strengths? And because you're such an authentic person, I know, like, these are easy for us because we're like, oh yeah, I tripped and fell right on my face and here I went. But like, let's go. What do you got?
Yeah, it's also hard sometimes too, because when I think about, I have failures every day, all the time, right? But when I think about one that like really is that failure that should be on your resume because it created how you behave now or changed how you behave now. There's one, and it was years ago, and it was early career. And the woman's name I can say because she's just so amazing. And so Nancy Martin, way long time ago, sat me down, and she said to me, she's like, Nadine, I just have to let you know how you're coming across. And I was like,
Mm.
oh God, this is not going to be good. Like, what is going on? And I still have the piece of paper that she wrote. She's like, you're coming across as defensive, stubborn. What did she say? Too competitive and afraid to lose.
Oh,
Like, right? Like she dropped these bombs on me, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is not my intent. My intent, like, and I didn't even know if I had an intent. I was just so passionate about what I was doing, and I cared so much that I was like, I felt like, I had an opinion, and I cared so much that I was like really, really passionate and strong about it.
yeah.
And she's like, Nadine, you don't understand. You might be passionate about it, but you got to listen to other people. You have to open yourself up to these other ideas. And right. So we had this whole exchange, tears, hugs, all the things. But I will never forget how that felt. And it's one of those times where it shaped how I now behave and how I now collaborate with people.
Yeah.
In that, I just I couldn't believe when she told me. I was like,
Well, and
competitive, stubborn, all these things.
when someone tells you that, you're presented with a fork in the road. And whether you're thinking about it or not, you have a choice. You can be like, you're the worst leader I've ever worked for. I hate you and I want a new job. Or you can be like, there's some truth to that.
Mhm.
And this is something I've got to work on. And I shared with you one of my failure stories, and I'll make it real quick. But this was early in my career. We're both quite enthusiastic, competitive humans. And I was really delighted to be on the team I was on. I was so excited about everything I was doing. And I would run to my manager and I would tell her, I'm like, oh my God, all these things are broken. This process is broken. And so is doing this. I think you could do it a different way. And I just would like rattle off all the observations I had about everything that I thought was wrong. And she looked at me after like the third time and was like, Lyndsay, you're very astute. And thank you for bringing these things to my attention. But you come here with problems and you never bring solutions.
Right. Oh,
I felt so humiliated, so embarrassed. I was like, oh my God, I'm the girl who bitches. This is terrible. This is a bad look. And I learned from that moment that I would always encourage the people that I manage, bring me your problems, but come with solutions. And I thought that was such a great way to lead. And it was a great way for me to get the message.
yeah,
And I never forgot it. And I was in my early 20s when I got that message. It's been a lot of years. So, that
yeah.
was something that really stuck. So those things definitely stay with you.
I will share, I probably was that person as well. Like, that story resonates so heavily with me, but I never got that feedback. So the
Mm-hmm.
other thing I'll say is, like, for leaders that are out there, give people
Yes.
feedback, because
Yes.
I probably said that and did that. And, I was so grateful to, after the tears and after being like, stabbed, I was like, oh my gosh, this is terrible. But now looking back, like, holy cow, I'm so thankful that she gave me that feedback. So I knew how I was coming across. So many times people don't even realize how they're coming across because no one tells them. We
Yeah.
need to at least get the feedback. So yeah, it's just another side note.
Yeah. Good one. Okay. So here's a fun one.
Okay.
What is your leadership superpower and what is your kryptonite? And your kryptonite is something you're really not great at, because we all have these things. I don't want
Yeah.
anyone to think that we're all perfect, because we're not.
Yeah. Yes. And so, my superpower, I think, is bringing people, and you mentioned it a little bit earlier, but like bringing people together and creating a space where everyone feels like they can have fun or
Yeah.
they belong, or right. So I don't necessarily even want to say connector, because
Mhm.
I don't know. I mean, I don't just connect people. It's not like if you have a call with me, I'm going to say, oh gosh, you should go talk to, and I'd list 10 people and you go
Right.
talk to them. I just like create these spaces. And I did that for so many years because I wanted those spaces. So then I was like, forget it. I'm just going to create these spaces myself. Right. I told a funny story on LinkedIn where I created a fake or sorority in college. Like, this is kind of silliness. And yes, everyone can laugh at me. That's ridiculous. But it was just a few of us, we made t-shirts and sweatshirts, and it was a belonging thing. It
Yeah.
was a belonging thing. I created it because I just do that. So that is my I'd say my superpower. My kryptonite, I think, though, is perfectionism. And
Mhm.
that is because for so many years I would always look outward to other people, to other things, right? And
Sure.
thought that that's what I should be, and thought that there was a perfect version, and thought that, and I guess I'll even say like titles and status and all of that are what really was what mattered. And there's a level of that I still struggle with. Everyone does with perfectionism, right? Like
Yeah.
I'll look at people and be like, oh, they're prettier, they're skinnier, they're, all
Right.
these things. So it's that constant comparison.
Mhm.
Today's culture makes it even harder with all the social medias, but it's probably that perfectionism and
Yeah.
trying to compare myself and be something that I'm not, or something that I think I need to be, when I
Yeah.
can be myself.
Yeah. Well, and yourself is the one that everybody likes the most anyway. So, well, let's give a few more shout outs to our friends Rich Keller, Nick and Guy Galindo, Philly Danella, DBK. I see you out there. And I think I got everybody. If I missed you, I'm so sorry. I'm trying to keep track of all the comments. But okay, so you host these gratitude experiences, and we have this mutual friend, Chris Shembra, who started this stuff, and he is exceptional, and you've become such a fabulous emissary of a gratitude experience. Can you just describe a little bit about what those are and why you do them?
Yes. And it's got to be, I got to give so much credit to Chris, because I met him over a year ago and we just started talking, and eventually I went to a few of his gratitude dinners, or, live sessions. And I said, like, it just hit me so hard. And he's like, you should do it. And I was like, okay, I guess I will. So that's how it all started. But so much credit to him, because I wouldn't have done it without him or without his encouragement to do my own. That said, essentially what it is it's like maybe about an hour, bring people together to literally pause, set aside your title, set aside your job, set aside the stresses of whatever you have to do, which is hard, right? Because we all are thinking of our to-do lists and the things that we need to accomplish, and be in the moment, talk about how you're feeling right now in the moment, what's going on in life for you, and then again, think about, who do you appreciate in this moment? Who should you think of this week that maybe you should thank? Who should you thank that you haven't thanked? It's said thank you to in a long time. Like we ask, and I'm starting to change up some of the questions that I ask.
Yeah.
But it's really just a moment to pause and get everyone to set aside the challenges of everyday life and think about gratitude. And I will say it hit me so hard, because when Chris and I were talking, there was just this light bulb that went off. He said, how many meetings are you in a day, or do you go to a day? And I was like, oh my gosh, I don't even know. I'm back to back from like 7 to 6 most days. And he's like, and do you feel like you're connected with those people? Because you're talking to those people a lot, but do you feel like you're connected? I was like, no, all we do is talk about, this, like, it's status updates, and it's cleaning up PowerPoints and prep. It's the meeting to prepare for the meeting, like that kind of stuff. And he's like, then you need this in your life, because this is a true pause where you can start to connect with people at a different level.
Yeah. I've been to a few of your gratitude experiences. I've been with one with Chris, one with Melissa Cohen, and a few from you, and they're always different. I know we've got a bunch of people in the audience that have attended. If you guys are unfamiliar with what we're talking about, please connect with Nadine. I'm going to pop up her little QR code. I'll bring this back up towards the end of the show. Scan that. That's going to take you out to her Be Real Partners website, but please connect with her on LinkedIn. Find yourself a way to one of her gratitude tables, because these sessions are really profound. And I thought it would be the same thing each time, and it's been different each time, because I'm in a different space each time. And so some days I come and I'm like, I'm ready, I'm motivated, things are cooking, it's good. And some days I'm like, I'm freaking exhausted, or, I'm feeling melancholy, or whatever that is. And if I'm just one person having a bad experience, and there's 50 people in the room or 20 people in the room, they're all having their own experiences. So what you find is this moment to give and pour into each other and lift each other up. And let them be in their feelings. We don't need fixing. We need to just be and allow space for that. And Nadine does a beautiful job creating a safe space for us all.
Thank you, Lyndsay. Yeah. The other thing is, it's not even that you, as you arrive, are in a different space. The people are different every single time, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I've had people say, I came to this session today. I already knew what the questions would be, and I had someone in mind, and now I'm thinking of someone different. Because the stories that are shared, the people that join are, they're sharing different stories of what's going on in their life. And then it triggers a different thought, a different memory, and
Right.
all the things. So it is wonderful. I love it. And I think I saw in the chat that Nick said there's one tomorrow, and there is one tomorrow. It's a virtual.
Yes. So connect with Nadine if you want to know more about that. Maybe she'll give you a little tidbit at the end of how you can find out about it. But okay, here's a good question. I love this one. Who believed in you before you believed in you?
Yeah. Okay. This one's got a good story too. So this was a GE story. So many years ago, this was actually when I shifted from engineering and quality, like everybody at GE was a black belt and a master black belt at some point, right? So I was in this master black belt role, and I was really trying to get into an HR type role.
By the way, she doesn't mean karate, y'all. I'm just
No. This is like Six Sigma black belt and green
Yeah.
belt, if anyone remembers all that. So thank you, Lyndsay. Jeez.
I mean, we got people on YouTube, we got people on Facebook. I don't know where they're coming from, so I'm just trying to level the playing field.
Yes. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yes. So back in the day, I was in that role. I really wanted to move into this role that was available, and it was more of an HR. It was recruiting, and it was leading early talent within GE. And I had reached out and talked to the hiring manager. I was like, I'm really interested in this role. I think it would be a great fit, blah, blah, blah. Gave her my spiel. And she's like, nope, sorry, you don't have an engineering degree. You don't have this type of degree. She gave me all these reasons, this list of reasons why I wouldn't be the right fit. So I went back, head hung, sad, came back the next day, and I said, I thought about what she said, and here's my, I basically gave her my rebuttal. And I was like, these are the reasons I still think I'd be a good fit. She's like, I just really don't think leadership is going to allow you to come from a master black belt quality role to this role. Like it's not a typical career path. And remember, this is like, we're talking years ago. And I, again, walked away, kind of head hung, sad. And then I tried a third time, and she's like, wow, you are really persistent. And I said, I just really feel like I really feel something about this role. There is some reason I feel like this is it's meant to be like there. And I just kept, because I also had some people behind the scenes saying, don't listen to that. You would be good for that role. Like, so I had some encouragement. This wasn't just me, but still I was persistent. She did end up, making a longer story shorter, she did end up allowing me to apply. And then I did end up getting the role. She, to this day, her and I still have lunches, still have coffees. She became my biggest advocate, and she will never forget that story. I won't either, because I really was kind of an annoying pain in the ass, but
no, you were persistent and you had really strong self-belief. And, look, you could have taken that first no, tail between your legs, head hung, and gone about your black belt ways. But instead, you're like, no, there's something more for me. I believe in myself. And you showed her that she should believe in you too. And I think it was reversed. I think you believed in you before she believed in you, but she's always believed in you since.
And that's the thing. And she will tell people now, she's like, I will never forget how you changed my mind. Yeah. And now you were my favorite teammate. Like, her and I talk, and she will say how much that experience changed her and I. It's just, it kind of, it's one of those I'll never forget, and she won't either. And I'm glad that she now is still an advocate and someone who supports me, whatever I'm doing in my career.
Well, it's such a great testament to the leaders that mean so much to you. You never forget them. Yeah. And you equally never forget the terrible ones. So, I say this all the time, that when I'm doing a keynote and I poll the room and I say, who here has had a bad manager? And if we ask the audience who here has had a bad manager, 100% of the room is going to raise their hands because we've all been there. And when I say who here has had a great manager, it's not that many. And that is what we're here to change. That's why I'm doing the Leadership Lounge. That's why Heartbeat for Hire exists. That's why the podcast exists, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. So you get to work with leaders all the time. What are they getting right now?
I think leaders right now there's two things that I think they're getting right. I do think that actually a lot of them are leaning into, and this is a weird answer at first, but I think a lot of them are leaning into AI. And I think a lot of them are really truly starting to understand, okay, this is going to be something that can help me and my team, not necessarily be something that, we have to shy away from because we're worried about losing our jobs. I also think genuinely when you talk to leaders, they care. They want to be better. They don't know how to be better. And a lot of them struggle with still making the time for listening, and truly listening, not being distracted or multitasking. They still struggle with prioritization. They still struggle with building trust. Like there's a lot that they still struggle with. But when I talk to them, they're like, I care. I want this person to do better. I just don't know how to communicate to them so that they improve, right? Or they're afraid to have a difficult conversation. But they genuinely care and want to have that conversation, know it's the right thing to do. So I think there's really good humans out there as leaders.
Can we just say, like, for anyone listening and tell your friends this, if you don't care about people, get the hell out of your management job. Right. Please do us all a favor, because the second you become a manager, you become the topic of dinner conversation. And if you're really bad at it, rest assured, they are talking poorly about you. So please, if you care and you're in that role, wonderful. If you don't, and you think it is a ladder to climb, a step to get over, you're in the wrong role. Yep. Please stop.
I do think that's one thing that we're still messing up. Yes. We're putting people in roles because they were successful as sales leaders, or as sales individuals or
individual contributors. Yeah.
Exactly. And I think so, and there's leaders putting them in those roles, right? But so I think that is one thing that we're still not doing well is truly finding people that are good leaders as opposed to people that are good individual contributors. And we're also not helping them help themselves.
Yeah.
We might give them, we're like, okay, go to LinkedIn Learning and find a course on, difficult conversations. We really need to enable our managers and help our managers. We're just not paying enough attention to them.
Yeah. And this is why you're so coveted in the leadership development space. And guys, leaders at the top, if you think your managers are going to figure it out on their own, you need to invest in them. You need to help them learn. And if they've never had a good manager, they don't know what that looks like. So you need help to get there. And that's why Nadine and her skills are so desirable. Okay. Yeah, let's have some fun. This is a segment that we only do on this show. It is called Lead It or Leave It. It's a speed round. So I'm going to give you some concepts. And if you love it, you're going to say lead it. And if you hate it, you're going to say leave it. And if you want to explain, you can. But we're going to have some fun. Okay.
Lead it, leave it.
Yes. Lead it is good. Leave it is get rid of it.
Okay.
Okay. This is an easy one. 4-day work weeks.
Lead it.
Yeah, right? Okay. Here's a concept I just learned. Returnship programs. And if you don't know what that is, it's helping people re-enter the workforce.
So is it helping people re-enter the workforce after something like work from home, or is it like women who've been on maternity leave?
I think they've left the workforce and they're coming back in. So,
and totally
skilling up.
Lead it. Yeah. Bring them back. Why not? They took a break for some reason, and bring them back, of course.
Okay. Productivity paranoia, meaning leaderships are not trusting their remote workers.
So obviously leave it, but I think you have to dig into why this is happening.
Right. Yeah. Okay. We've all heard about quiet quitting, but what about loud quitting, making your exit loudly?
I actually will say leave it on this one. And I know this might be a little bit, people could go either way. I just will say that in every company that I have left, which I have left, I luckily have not been someone who, was forced out for any reason.
Yeah.
I have gone back to people and they've helped me in my new career. Like they've been mentors or they're bringing me back to do leadership work. So I'm like one of those people that says, don't ever burn a
Yeah,
bridge.
don't burn your bridges.
That's
I agree with that, and you could hate your boss. They could let you go. They could fire you. It could be awful, but just keep in mind, folks, the next company, if they see that post of you like lighting everything on fire, they're going to be like, "Oof,
yeah.
liability." So be
Or
careful
10
on
years
that.
or 10 years later when you're on your own and now you have hundreds of people that are at a company, you could
Right.
reach out to them, but you can't. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
save it for cocktails with your best friends.
right.
Okay, here's one. Workplace influencers, so employees as brand ambassadors.
Leave it. Leave it. I mean, oh God, this is another one. I mean, it's one of those things like I was on LinkedIn a lot and I got told like I had to be careful because I am speaking
Mm,
for the company when I'm speaking on LinkedIn and
mhm.
I wanted to be my own voice. So yeah, this one's a tough one, but I'm gonna say leave it.
Yeah, I agree. Okay,
Yeah.
here's one, and I think I know what you're gonna say. Mandatory RTO, return to
Good
office.
Lord, leave it. Good geez. I mean, yeah, my husband's going through it now too. I get right. So I've been on the HR side of it where I get it. But I think there's other ways to manage it as opposed to just mandating something that you're not even sure will work. And mandating something where people will come into the office and be like, this is fantastic. Now I'm sitting in an empty office on Zoom calls. That's not what you're getting at with RTO. So fix the real problem, which is
Yes.
office culture.
Yeah,
Then people will want to come in.
that's right. Well, and
Sorry, I'll get off my horse.
it's such no, we could spend a whole 45
Right.
minutes on this topic alone, and, I'll just tell a little story, of a woman that I worked with at IBM, and she was there for, like, 30 some odd years, and they're like, "You have to return to the office," knowing her team is not even there, like, they're like, nobody that she
Yeah.
manages is even coming into that building, and so she would drive to the office, she would badge in, she would stand in the lobby for 5 minutes on her phone, and then she would leave. I'm like,
Right.
well done, you guys. You got her into the office. Nicely
Talk about
done.
metrics driving behavior, right? Oh my
Terrible.
gosh. Yeah,
Terrible. But that's
ridiculous.
what they've done.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's talk a little bit about Be Real. What is it and what does it do and why did you build it?
Yeah, thank you. So I've been calling myself a boutique HR consulting firm because really what I'm leaning into right now is that piece, that HR consulting piece, and it's small. It's just me, so I'm not going to do it for massive corporations
Right.
likely. But what I found locally is a couple companies that they've staffed up really quickly. They probably outsourced to get the staffing needs where they are, and then they've outsourced benefits, and now they're like, great, we have 30 or 50 more people than we did at this time last year. Now
Right.
what? How do we retain them? How do we do performance development? What's succession planning? I don't even know what that is. So I'll come in as basically like an HR business partner or a talent partner to them and do consulting, set up, whatever processes need to be set up, help their managers truly enable the managers to be
Mhm.
better leaders, all of that kind of stuff. Aside from that, I like you mentioned, I do a lot of facilitation, I do a lot of workshops, and I do love those. I love just like coming in, bringing the energy to the room. I still do the gratitude dinner. So there's a lot of things that I do just because I also love them and am good
Yeah.
at them, and I get asked to do them. But I'd say primarily it's that consulting work where I get to partner with a company, find out what's really going on, what's going wrong, what just happened, is there a change that we need to, that they need to work through,
Mhm.
why are their teams stuck? Why are their leaders stuck? And then help them through it with whatever means necessary.
I love that. I want to talk more about Be Real in just a moment, but you guys, not only are you getting two awesome leaders for this 45 minutes together, but I got a present for you.
Oh gosh.
So you can do a little shopping before the holidays. So I've got a deal for you. This is a QR code for Cozy Earth. And Cozy Earth is this brand that I partner with. If you use the code Lead with Heart, you can get 41% off of your purchase. That's the deepest discount you can get anywhere. And they have bedding and bathrobes and sweaters and all kinds of deliciousness to be looked at. This has been on Oprah's favorite things list 9 times. These products are great, gorgeous. There's a QR code for it. There's the website. Go check it out. Have some fun shopping. And remember, code lead with heart.
And I'm writing right now because I could use some cozy things for the fall and the winter. So I'm like,
there you go.
Yeah, right now.
Yeah. Okay. So let's go back to be real for a second. Yeah. Who are your ideal clients?
I'd say business owners of small to mid-sized businesses that are either going through change or going through growth. Like if that's it, I'm happy to partner with anyone, right? Like right now, I am the person that's like, I'm a helper. I want to be out there and have those conversations. I certainly am also doing coaching. So there could be executive coaches out there, but I'd say it's business leaders for small to mid-sized businesses and that are going through some sort of transformational change and need to understand how their people are feeling.
Yeah.
What's going on with their people and teams. That's where the gold is. And that's where I really want to help support.
Yeah. I think you're naturally gifted with this. And I think leaders, I've experienced this too, when leaders are, you've got, I think Jared Braston, we were talking about this yesterday. You've got a myriad of decisions you have to make every single day. And sometimes you're moving so fast, you are unable to take the pulse of your people. And that's why bringing somebody like Nadine in to help them say, hey, this is what I noticed. This is what you might be missing. And I think that is really powerful stuff, really important for them to be able to access and really understand, what their people are dealing with. Because, a lot of people are too scared to tell the top what's happening. And a lot of leaders have made it very dangerous for them to share true feelings. So by having that external trusted party really does make a difference.
Yeah. I'd say even a lot of leaders are afraid to admit that they don't know.
Yes.
And they're afraid to have, and this is probably my biggest, the hardest aspect for me is leaders will say, well, I'm fine. Like everything's fine. They don't want to admit that they're not okay.
Right.
And they'll say, my teams are doing great. I'll say, well, do you know? How do you know? How are you?
How do you know? It's a good question.
So, and it's not that I'm trying to be critical. I'm really,
that's the whole point.
The real, or the reality is they're probably not all okay. And
well, this work, I mean, both you and I love this work, and we have our special gifts are being able to see people really clearly, being able to feel what's going on and get to the root of the issue very rapidly. We also create those safe spaces. So that's why it's real easy for people to tell us the truth. Okay. So Nads, where can people find you? Give them your website because there's the QR code, but you tell them what it is.
Thank you. Yes, that's my website. It is, it's a standard website. If you really want to reach out to me, I am on LinkedIn all the time. So I would encourage you to reach out that way. But my website has ways to contact me. It shares everything that I do from coaching, leadership development, the HR consulting, and then even speaking. I've had some fun speaking recently too, that's just a side fun thing. It also has the gratitude tables and any other events that I can support your business or your team with, all on the website. But like I said, am on LinkedIn all the time, like you, Lyndsay, and really have had so many wonderful connections that way. So I'd cherish new people to speak with and new connections all the time.
All right. So we've got just a few minutes left.
Yeah.
What are some parting words that you'd like to say either about Be Real or about gratitude or about your leadership experience? What are some takeaways you want our audience to leave with?
Yeah, I think one thing that I want to leave people with is this idea about connection. And I know I mentioned AI and people are leaning into AI, and that's great. But it's getting harder and harder for us to know what's real, what's not. Even, oh my gosh, if you've seen Liam Darmody, he's creating stuff with Dora right now. And I'm like,
it's crazy.
Liam, I feel like that's real. And he's like, no, it's not. So anyways, like there is so much out there where we don't know if it's real or not. And so I'm leaning so hard into this idea of human connection, human fluency, and making sure people really do start to see more of this in business. It's, you can get it from the gratitude dinners, or you can just get it by having conversations like this, right? Real humans having real talk. And I just, I guess I'd leave everyone with that make time for it, because this is what really will differentiate us in the future. Sure, AI is here, it's not going away, and we should learn how to use it, and that's fantastic. But this is what really matters. And so I just encourage everyone to have those one-on-one conversations. Go out, spend time, have coffee or lunch with someone, stay connected to the people that matter, really truly listen to the people that matter. Don't be distracted. And yeah, because those connections are the things that really fill us up and will be what stick with us long term.
I think we also have to give a little shout out for community and creating community, being a part of community, especially as an entrepreneur. You need that. When you're part of a company that kind of is pre-built, we tend to take that for granted because your people are served up and you see them, multiple times a week. When you intentionally are part of a community, and we're both part of the Outlier Project, as are so many people in the audience, shout out, Paddle, that community has certainly changed my life, and as it's been a joy to be in community with you. But those people make you better. They lift you up and remind you who you are. And when you're facing that imposter syndrome, it's, which we all have it.
Yeah.
You need those people to remind you what's going on.
Yeah. And actually that has me thinking, another idea, step out of your comfort zone, join communities like that, and surround yourself by people that are better than you.
Hell yeah.
Right? I mean, you have to, and when Outlier, that is exactly what I'm around every day. I feel like it almost gives me more imposter syndrome, or at least it did at first, because I was like, oh my gosh, we're around like Olympians and all these authors everywhere. Like, you're an author, all these amazing people. And then I was like, holy crap, this is the best thing for me. I am surrounding myself with rock stars. And I'm stepping out of my comfort zone to surround myself by these amazing people, and it's gonna make me better. And it
does make you better.
Absolutely.
So guys, I'm Nadine. Thank you so much for being such a wonderful guest. Thank you for sharing your heart, sharing your stories. I hope you all are enjoying these live streams. I am absolutely loving putting them together. The guest list is fire. I've got Mondo Salavanti coming on next week, and then Aaron Arnheim the week after that. I just did a post on LinkedIn about who's coming up next. Melissa Carson's in the house, DVK's in the house, Nick's in the house. They're all coming on the show. You guys, this is a place for us to teach people how to lead with heart and do it right. And I'm using this platform to help us all get there. So if you know somebody that should be on the show, send them my way. We'll have a little chat. But the schedule is really building up, and I'm super, super excited to continue this conversation. So Nadine, thank you. And guys, get out there, lead with heart, have the best day, and be with people who make you better, because that is what it's all about. And I was just talking to a guy this morning, and he was like, gosh, you hang out with ballers. I go, yeah, I do. And I make no apologies for it.
Right.
It's a pretty special way to live your life. And, I can say I've got a lot. You saw my desk. There's about 80 books on my desk in there from my friends, which is just so cool. And Olympians, around every corner, and professional athletes and speakers. And this is just who we hang with. And that is some tremendously cool stuff.
Yes.
So, everybody, thank you. Appreciate you listening. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye.